Welcome to Sculpture Studios. We've done a lot of work for theme parks in the past, particularly for Chessington World of Adventures. If you've seen some of our other work for Chessington, such as the Dragon Head, the Buddha Faces, and the Rodeo Cowboy, you can see some of the variety of work we undertake to create theming for this sort of location. Here we're resurrecting another old video where Aden's creating two giant Cobras for the Rameses Revenge ride. The idea was that the designers wanted two snakes spiralling up a support on either side of the ride and wrapping around with the heads facing outwards at the top. This all sounds simple enough in theory, but when it came to practically making it, this turned out to be very problematical in terms of getting the twist just right. Believe it or not, it took 2 billets of polystyrene to create the basis of what you're seeing here. Considering each billet is 8x4 by 2 foot in size, this was a lot of waste material to create this kind of curve. Aden drew lines around the polystyrene to cut from, making sure that not only did the snakes wrap around the pole at the correct diameter, but the bodies also needed to get smaller and thinner towards the bottom. If this wasn't complicated enough, he needed to make sure the 2 snakes were handed images, and this means that when you look at them side by side, they're mirror identical. Unfortunately, we don't actually have much footage of the actual carving process, as these videos were originally taken as more of a record keeping, and not so much as an online project like we deliberately film for nowadays. Now we're converting all this into digital format from the old tapes, we can give you a small glimpse of the process that went on behind the work. When the snakes were carved, they were moulded and cast in glass fibre, the same as we would do today. Here we have our scenic artist Duncan Bayless creating the artwork for the fiberglass surface. Duncan's worked with us on a lot of projects in the past and uses theatrical layered airbrush techniques to create a professional finish. The artwork needed to be realistic, but not so striking that it takes the focus away from the rest of the ride. The snakes needed to blend into the theming and to be subtle enough to pass as old statues, fitting in with the Egyptian ride area. Sculpture Studios also made the original Rameses Revenge sign, as you can see here. Once again, apologies for the lack of footage of earlier on in the process, but here it is finished on site and it's placed in the background behind the ride. It was carved from polystyrene originally, moulded and cast in glass fibre, exactly the same as the snakes themselves, and it's artworked with cracks and blemishes to make it resemble worn stone. Younger Aden, rocking the goatee, is now going to talk you through a little bit of the work that went on site.
We had the giant king cobra. We saw it in the workshop, pretty scrappy, all in bits and pieces. Now we've seen it from the polystyrene stage, and if you want to come around here, Sean, you can see quite a hefty drop. Well, you can when it comes out in the video, I think. But it's quite a big thing. I'm looking right down, it actually disappears down there somewhere. See here, we basically joins and on the hole, we have to measure this pole and then try and guess the sort of circle through, is it through the whole snake? And now we're just filling it up with chopped strands of resin to key the whole thing on. But lucky enough, just here there's a bracket. That whole piece is a complete bit to there and it's sat on the bracket. And it's quite good, but eventually all vines get put up here, all vines and creepers and whatever, and this gets repainted out, so the whole snake should look quite neat when it's all done. The Rameses Revenge sign?
Yep.
Yeah, we made them as well. Goes right down in between the rocks, and about another 2 feet like below that again.
Chessington World of Adventures said they were very happy with the work, and the snakes went fantastically with the surrounding theming. Unfortunately, a few years later, as the ride got older and older and more maintenance was needed, the snakes were allegedly removed so that engineers had better access to the ride mechanics. Often with many of our sculptures, they're rehomed and rethemed for different areas of the park, but in this case, perhaps the snakes were damaged in the process. The ride's been rethemed since, and now resembles some sort of Egyptian machine or contraption with a much more modern look, and unfortunately it's more paintwork and less sculpture nowadays. But we feel we were lucky enough to be part of creating theming for the ride when it was first opened in its glory days. We hope you enjoyed the video, and for those of you that have visited and remember Chessington from earlier times, hopefully this is a little bit of nostalgia for you. Please feel free to leave any comments below, as they're always appreciated, and hit the subscribe button for our latest videos. You can like Sculpture Studios on Facebook, and for more of our work, visit sculpturestudios.co.uk. Thank you very much for watching.